Welcome to Small Business Saturdays video series with your host and my husband.
And my dad, Aaron Montgomery.
Join the conversation.
Let's talk some business.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into Small Business Saturdays, and also happy Small Business Saturday to you all. I am here in a hotel room in Chattanooga, Tennessee this morning. And as those of you watching the live version can see here, I have two wonderful people next to me. Over here, this is Lewis, and back here is Kylene.
Hello, good morning.
Lou, what did you do for Thanksgiving, buddy?
We went to Hilton Head Island.
Cool. And you maybe had a little time on the beach. This chair is about ready to knock me over there. Sorry. Did you have some time on the beach, son? Every day. All right. So, good morning, Martha. Good morning, Wade. And good morning, Debbie. Hopefully everybody's having a great Saturday. All right, you guys. So, Lou, anything else you want to share before I get started? And you guys are going to go grab breakfast, right?
Only thing that I can think of is that you're a great host.
Oh, thank you. All right, you guys. Bye. Love you, son. All right, Curtis, good morning. And Christine, good morning. So, all right. Well, so hopefully everybody is starting to get pretty busy here for the holiday season. Excuse me, let me fix this chair real quick. There we go. Martha says, I grew up in Georgia. I've never been to Hilton Head. We had never been either. It was a great trip. We've got some friends there that have a beach house there that we were fortunate enough to get to stay in. So it was a great trip. It's definitely worth checking out when you get a chance, Martha. And chilling before I hit a bunch of new orders that came in yesterday. All right, Debbie. Yes. High five. Good job. So we're getting, hopefully people are starting to gear up a little bit here. I know the crowds at the retail locations were pretty small yesterday from all the reports that I'm seeing. And obviously the online ordering is fast and furious, and all sorts of different sales going on and things happening. And hopefully today is a fantastic day for all of you for Small Business Saturday. Hopefully you're getting out there and just talking loud all day about what's going on and what's going on in your business and how you can support people and what, like Debbie, get those orders coming in. So, what I want to do is we're continuing on our 10-week Success Principles program here. And this week we're talking about taking 100% responsibility. This is, in fact, let's see if I can show it to you there. I wore my Empowered shirt because, one of the things that comes up for me when I start thinking about taking 100% responsibility for my life is that empowered feeling, the feeling of I control success, failure, good times, sad times. Nobody else has that ability or right to tell me how I need to be. Everything that happens, it somehow, some way happened for a reason that I created one way or the other. So this whole process, and you'll hear Jack talk a lot more about this, so I don't want to go too deep into that. But to me, this process is very empowering. At first, it's a little scary because it's a big responsibility. But it becomes very empowering once you start thinking about it more, in the fact that no circumstances can ultimately control how I feel or how much success I have, how I personally feel inside, all of that kind of fun stuff. So we'll let Jack get into that a little bit more. So that's what we're going to start with, or that's what we'll do here in just a moment. Whoops, I just hit the wrong button. Okay, so I am going to throw a link in the chat here. And that way, if you want to go back, this will take you over to a YouTube playlist where we have the first 6 and now 7th video up. So you can go back and watch the earlier ones and check them all out. So let's just quickly review what we've done so far up through week 7. And so the first week was we be clear why you were here. And we discussed just kind of taking a chance to step back. Why? What gets you excited each day? What's your purpose? What's your why? That kind of thing. So that was a great experience, hopefully for everybody, and had a chance to really kind of think big and grow. And then we talked about, okay, now we know why we're here. So let's decide what we want from all of this, and what we want from our business, what we want from our personal lives, all those kinds of things. So we spent some time on that, 101 goals list, that kind of thing. So that was hopefully really eye-opening too. Those types of things really kind of get me excited personally. So hopefully you guys got a lot out of that as well. The third week, we talked about clarifying our ideal lives. We kind of took that to the next step in that process where, okay, we know why we're here. We know all the things that we want, but let's get real specific and clear about what the vision is. Kylene and I were actually talking about this on the road trip we were on yesterday. We kind of broke up this trip to go back to St. Louis into 2 days. So we were talking about that on the way over. Is if I was somebody that had never seen, never had any sight, could you tell me what your ideal life is, what the ideal situation is without any, without any visuals, without somebody else could I feel like I'm right in the middle of your ideal life by you excreting it? So that part, getting super clear about, and the specifics, the practice that we had, that we both tried together to get a little bit closer to being able to clarify and be specific, was what described the ideal Thanksgiving dinner. And, we start off like, oh, it'd be nice to have family. No. Let's describe it in detail. Who is the exact people that you want there? What are they wearing? What's the music in the background? What exactly is every single dish on your plate? Those kinds of things. So that was week 3, clarifying your ideal life. Good morning, Valerie and Janessa. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here. All right. So that was week 3. Week 4, we got into believing it's possible. The working through getting over limiting beliefs. And so just, at the end of the day, when we talk about, okay, why we're here, all the things that we want, and then clarifying that ideal life, we have to be able to believe it's possible. We have to get beyond the blocks that we have, and we have to be able to believe it's possible. Everything that's holding us back is just a limiting belief. It's a fear or something that we were taught along the way. Therefore, we can unteach it, so to speak. We can learn a new way. And so that's what we talked about in week 4. And week 5, we broke down, okay, the vision. Now we need to set some goals. And we talked about SMART goals, something that I love to talk about. But at the end of the day, it's like taking our goals and going, how much and by when? How much and by when? And again, I need to be able to describe that to somebody else that has no idea about my life, and for them to be able to go, I get it. Because the 2 reasons: A, they'll be able to help you and provide support and help, but 2, because you will also be able to let your subconscious mind go to work on solving any problems or challenges or roadblocks that are in the way of you getting there. And so it has to be that clear. So it has to be that smart, so to speak. And then last week, we identified a breakthrough goal. We talked about, okay, we've got some goals. Great, I want to do this and this. But what is that big thing? What is the thing that, for me, what's that thing that makes you a little bit nervous, but still is something that you can believe it's possible? And something that, so we want to do this breakthrough goal, and we want to put it out there. We want to share it with people. For me, it's, I'd like to have 1,000 people in our Masters of Success program by 2024, by the end of 2024. So that's big. That's a lot. We've got 6 people right now. So got a lot of work to do, but I believe in the process so much that I believe that I can help 1,000 people, that we can support 1,000 people in that community to do really amazing things as small businesses. So that was week 6. So there's our overview. Let me know what, again, go back, check out the videos and the link that I put up there. In fact, I'll put it up here. You just click on that out of the comments here. And then you can go check that out when you want to go back to those. So we'll keep that up. All right. So there we go. That is what the preview. Let's go ahead and let Mr. Canfield talk to us about 100% responsibility. And then I will come back, share the worksheet with you, and we'll talk about it. And I can't wait to hear from you guys. And I want to hear from you guys what you think, what's been happening these previous 6 weeks, all that stuff. So my goal here today is to try to read as many comments as possible instead of me talking the whole time. Let's go for that. All right. Perfect. So let's get started with Mr. Canfield first, and then we will dive right in. Okay, let's get that and put that on screen, and away we go.
Today, we're going to focus on an important principle. Literally, it's a formula that underlies everything in terms of being successful. And it's take 100% responsibility for your life and your results. Now, most people don't get all excited when they think about taking responsibility. But what you're going to find as we cover this, and we're going to do 3 lessons on this in a row. So this is the first one, is you've got to take 100% responsibility. Because if you're not, what you're doing is you're blaming or complaining or making excuses about someone else being responsible for why you're not succeeding. And basically that puts you in a victim position. Something out there is responsible for your success. And the truth is only you are responsible. Now, why 100%? Think about this. Would you like to be married to someone who takes they're committed 99% to monogamy? I don't think so. You'd always be wondering, well, is today the day they're going to cheat on me? So you want 100% commitment to your goals, or you end up cheating on yourself so that basically you won't get to where you want to go. So we're talking 100% responsibility. And there's a formula that goes with this. It's really critical to understand. It's called E plus R equals O. And what that stands for are the events that occur in your life. You then have a response to those events, and that equals an outcome. And what most people do is when they don't get the outcomes they want, instead of changing their response to the way things are, they start blaming the way things are. They blame the event. You know, if only the economy was different. They blame the president. They blame the Congress. They blame their wife, their neighbor, their job, their boss, their employees. I even heard a warden of a prison once blame the prisoners for why there were riots. He said, they were challenging him. So you have more riots in your prison. You know, what are you doing up there? He said, well, you send me a better class of prisoners, I'll have fewer riots. Well, that's not the way it works. There are lots of prisons where there are no riots. And so you always have to look to yourself and say, what am I doing? What am I thinking? What am I imagining that's producing the outcomes? Now, if you don't like the outcomes, you've got to change your response. This is the way it works. The world's out there worlding, doing whatever it does. There are recessions. There are setbacks. It rains on your birthday. Your spouse leaves you. Your company's downsized. Your technology becomes outmoded and something new comes along, a better app, a better program, whatever it might be. And so all of a sudden, you're not getting the same result. So think about this. 2 plus 2 equals 4. And if you like 4, that's great. Now you're in a program because you've already said 4 is not enough. I want something more. I want more income. I want more happiness. I want more joy. I want more sales. I want more results. Now, 2 plus 2 will always equal 4. And so if the world keeps doing what it's doing, you can't do what you're doing and get more. If what you're currently doing would get you more would have already showed up. And it hasn't. So you've got to change 3 things in your life. You've got to change your thoughts. You have to change your behavior, which includes what you say and what you do. And you have to change the images that you hold in your mind. So 2 plus 3 equals 5. Now here you've changed, you've added some new things, you're doing something different, you're getting more, but then the economy tanks or you lose your job. And all of a sudden the world's doing 1. So you can't keep doing 3 and get 5. So life is constantly shifting and you've got to constantly shift with it. Now, what we've done is I have spent years and years and years and years, over 50 years, studying what are the responses of successful people. How do they think? What do they visualize? What do they do? And what do they say? And it's different than what most people do. So think about this. Something happens. You have a thought. Let's say your husband forgets your birthday. And then you go, oh, that must mean he doesn't love me. Well, that's the thought. And that thought, which is a response to the event, leaves you feeling unloved, unhappy, perhaps even depressed. Now, what if instead of that thought you went, wow, someone who loves me forgot my birthday? That's a different thought that would leave you feeling totally different. When I'm doing my live seminars, I'll sometimes come up to somebody and I'll say, let's take this woman in the first row. What's your name? Maggie. Now, Maggie, I've been doing these seminars for, 50 years around the world, over 1 million live people. And you are the biggest jerking idiot I've ever met. And then I say to the audience, how many of you think that would lower her self-esteem? Almost 90% of the people raise their hand. And I say, you just failed the first pop quiz on E plus R equals O. Because it's not what Jack says to Maggie, it's what Maggie says to Maggie when Jack stops talking that determines how she feels. She might have said, my God, Jack's only known me 20 minutes. How do you figure it out so fast? Her self-esteem will go down. She might say, Jack has a perceptual handicap. He doesn't recognize talent when he sees it. Her self-esteem would say the same. Or she might say, Jack keeps looking over here. This side of the room he spends more time on. I'm an attractive woman. Maybe he's even attracted to me. I laugh at his jokes. He thinks I have a good sense of humor. Maybe he has a little crush on me. I don't know. But I'm the perfect person to pick because he knew I wouldn't be upset. What would happen to her self-esteem then? It would go up. So it's not what people say or do to you. It's not what the environment, the world does to you. It's how you respond to it. And we're going to take a little time over the next couple of lessons to look at what are some of the things that we do that get us into feeling bad results, having bad results, and also what can we do to improve those results? Because everything you do falls into those three categories: what you think, what you imagine, and what you say and do. Now, you might think I left out feelings, but feelings are a result of the thoughts you think in response to something that happens. So you have choices. Now, here's the deal. When you aren't getting the outcome you have, you can either choose to blame the economy, make excuses, complain about the way things are, or you can choose to change your response and get a better outcome. Now, here's the thing. You know what some of those things are. Now, some of them you don't know, and that's what you're here to learn. I'm going to teach you those. There are responses that lead to success. They're called habits of success, disciplines of success. And you're going to learn those. But think about this. You also know some of the things you should do. If you're smoking, you know that you'd probably be healthier if you stopped. You know that if you got more sleep, you'd probably be healthier and feel more alive. If you drank more water, ate better food, responded to your emails more quickly, whatever. So here's what we're going to do for homework. I want you to really get this, that you are responsible. So in the 7 areas that we gave you in your vision, I'm going to ask you to answer the following question. And this will be in your handout, so you can respond to it on your handout. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for the quality of my finances, I would. And you might say, if I were to take 5% more responsibility for the quality of my finances, I would save at least 10% of my income. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for the quality of my finances, I would read a book on investing. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for my finances, I would be investing money in a fund for my retirement. So those kind of things. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for the quality of my relationships, I would listen more. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for the quality of my relationships, I would ask my wife the question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with our relationship? Anything less than a 10, I would say, honey, what would it take to make it a 10? So you get the idea. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for the quality of my health, I would drink more water, get more sleep, exercise for 20 minutes a day. So here's what I want you to do on the homework. Just fill out those questions. They'll say, if I could take 5% more responsibility for the quality of whatever section you're in, and just fill it out. And then what I want you to do over the course of the next week is I want you to take some little baby steps and start doing some of those things that you already know you should do and could do, but you're not doing. But that's outside of your awareness. So this week's about awareness, and then taking a little baby step to start taking actions on those awarenesses. Growth is awareness plus risk-taking, awareness plus action, awareness plus stretching, and you can do that. And you can do that. Get you started. So do the homework. We'll see you back here next week. We'll give you the second installment of taking 100% responsibility. Have a great week. And remember, you're responsible for everything that happens. So start paying attention. We'll see you next week.
All right. So great stuff. Very powerful stuff to me. And thank you, Mira, sorry. This is great. Sandy, good morning. Thank you. All right, cool. So there is the link to get this worksheet, and let's go ahead and get this worksheet up on the screen here. There you are. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Let me zoom in on that a little bit more. Okay. Oh, Jerry, thank you. I would not put up with a lack of commitment towards me by others, but when it comes to lack of commitment to me by me, I need to change that. And a lot of times you get what you're putting out there. So if you can, go ahead and make that commitment to yourself, I think others will also want to make that commitment to you as well. So excellent. Thanks for sharing, Jerry. And Tanya, good morning. Excuse me. All right. So let's take a look at what we've got here. This is the worksheet. So take 100% responsibility for your life. What would your life look like when you start taking 100% responsibility for everything you say and do? So here we go. Again, he talked about, and this is to me where, okay, let's take those baby steps, because at the end of the day, we can't change it all today. That this is one of the things that I am challenged with a lot of times is I'll take this stuff in and I just want to oh my God, okay, I got to do it all right now today, but I can't do that. I've got a lot of things to undo. I've got a lot of things to start working towards. I've got a lot of, so what you want to look at is what's the small thing, and that is, if I could take 5% more, a tiny 5%, that if you think about over the course of 24 hours, let's see here. Let's do, I'm terrible at doing math on the fly, so we're just going to pull that up. Over the course of 24 hours, that's 1.2 hours of the day is 5%. All right. So can you find an hour in there to work on something for yourself, work on something to be able to take more responsibility? All right. So if I were to take 5% more responsibility for my life and well-being, I would fill in the blanks. And then when I avoid responsibility for my life and well-being, I, drink more Diet Coke, I, eat candy, I, all those kinds of fun things that, again, we know, as he mentioned, we know that what to do, we just need to do it. And Christine, this is perfect. Small steps are what get you where you want to go. Everyone thinks it needs to be big, showy changes, but it's often small changes that stick and move you towards your goal. Christine, that is 100% correct. And yes, and what makes doing those small things so difficult is we don't see immediate results. We want everything now, but we didn't create certain situations immediately. We created those over a period of a lot of years. So if we need to change something, we need to do something differently. We have to allow ourselves the time for those changes to take effect and those things to stick, as Christine said. So that is a great share, Christine. Thank you. All right. If I were going to take 5% more responsibility for living my passion, the very first week, why I'm here, what would I do? What, maybe you're working towards something, that kind of thing. If I were to take 5% more responsibility for the attainment of my goals, when I avoid responsibility for the attainment of my goals, I kind of get the same thing, or, whatever. What does it feel like for you? Write that down. If I were to take 5% more responsibilities for the success of my relationships. And again, back to the fact that this is Small Business Saturdays, all of these things are extremely valuable to us, even if it's outside of the context of our business, because our relationships in general are what take us where we need to go. So all important stuff to do as business owners is build this nice, well-rounded life, which gets us closer to our idea of success. All right. Sometimes I keep myself passive when sometimes I make myself helpless when I blame others, complain about things, worry about things, have resentments, have guilt, things like that. So I become aware of how again, this is a process of going from, okay, I know it's in there, but I'm not aware of it. I need to get it out. And once I get it out and experience it, then I can move forward through it. All right. 10, if I were to take 5% more responsibility for the level of my self-esteem, what would you do? How would that look? What kinds of things would make you feel like you have more self-esteem? And then what are you going to do to achieve that? Again, it's called self-esteem, not somebody else telling you how you should feel. As Jack said, if he were to, and he did that to somebody in the live training I did. And, at first you were recoiled and kind of horrified by it. Okay. All right. So keep going. Sometimes I want to have not been willing to risk creating is, and then instead of complaining about X, I could work to create what I want by Y. All right. So there you go. That's the worksheet there. You can download that from the link that I put up right up here. So you can just click on that and go to it and check that out. And we're going to stop sharing that screen, back to the middle. All right. So where are you guys at? Who's been able to participate in all 6, now 7 so far? What are your thoughts? What are we missing? What's working? What's not working? What's holding you up? Any of those fun things. I want to hear from you guys. And again, this 100% responsibility thing for me was the most scary thing to tackle, but also the most powerful thing to tackle, the most empowering thing to tackle. That, we create all of our own circumstances. And so again, as Jack was talking about with the math is always going to be the math. So the thing we can change is our response. So E plus R equals O. So the event, whatever thing that is happening to me, plus my response to that thing are what creates our outcome. So, he gives some great examples there. So what do you guys got? How's it been? What's going on? What are your thoughts on 100% responsibility? I always love having those conversations with folks, because there is things that happen that just seem unfair and are unfair. And there are circumstances that are terrible. But there are many, many stories of folks that have had very terrible circumstances that have managed to continue to have that I'm responsible 100% for my life, and they've gone on to be very successful. So it can happen. All right. Christine says, I've watched all 7 videos. The one that I'm struggling with is limiting beliefs. I've worked hard on getting rid of a lot of the negative messages I was told when I was young, but there are still some that linger. One thing that crops up in certain situations, or things that crop up in certain situations, it's annoying. Christine, so that's, you're not alone there at all. In fact, I would venture to say that that's probably my biggest challenge. One of the techniques that I'm actually just going through the training before we get to taking the test on the success principles that he does is and I just picked this up, so it may not be real clear yet. So I'm going to do my best, and I can come back to this later. But in those things that crop up, the negative beliefs, the messages, what the process is to then take and kind of scan your body and figure out where that thing is. There's going to be somewhere in your body that has a different feeling to it that particular negative message resides in. And you want to go into it and just, what's it feel like? How big is it? What color would it be? What sounds would it make? Kind of really dig into it. And then from there, you want to go and you want to remember back to the earliest time you can remember that you felt that feeling. You had the knot in your neck, or, the little bit of a pain in your side, or maybe the hip, wherever it resides for you. We've got lots of these things kind of embedded in us. In fact, many of these things go back to our childhood. Anywhere from 3 to 8 years old typically is where we kind of get programmed with a lot of these negative messages or limiting beliefs. And so if you can remember back, and for me, I've got a tangled web of things that I've been digging through. And so getting through all of them has been like you said, it's annoying. Anyhow, from there, so I take that thing and I try to remember back to the earliest possible moment where I felt that. And then what was that experience? What was happening then? Jack tells a story about how he was trying to protect his dog from the dog catcher, and therefore some of his behaviors were always because he couldn't do it, and so now he had to protect everybody, kind of thing. So and again, I haven't been able to dig into this deep enough yet to have my own experiences to share yet, but I know there's some there. So the next process is, okay, now go all in your imagination. You're going to go to the time. So your older self, who you are right now, is going to go back in time, and you're going to have a conversation with that younger version of yourself, and tell them it's okay. Give them feedback. Let them know that, that feeling isn't some feeling that you have to have, and here's what's going to happen in your life, and there's going to be great things, and it's okay to let this go. So you do that, and then you let your younger self know that, okay, you have to leave, but you're there for them anytime you need. And then you're going to go and think about when you're, 85, 90 years old, the wise, enlightened person that you've become, the most wise and enlightened person that you've become. And you're going to say, okay, so what advice would you give yourself now about this situation, this limiting belief? And that starts to release some of it. So that's one technique, Christine, that he's shared that I want to dig into more. Another one, and this is one that I want to dig into a little bit more here. It's called tapping, EFT. Yeah, I think it's EFT. So I'll get some more resources and share that stuff with you guys on tapping. It seems like an interesting thing. Basically, this was a thing that was developed where a guy claimed that 99.4% could cure any phobia in 5 minutes. So there you go. Curtis says organizing stuff, staying focused. So Curtis, if you can dig into, where that's coming from, that really gives you, so what is it that you can do to take 5% more responsibility to organize something or to stay focused, to get into specifically what it is that you want to do. So thank you for sharing, Curtis. It's awesome. All right. What else? What else do you guys have? Anything else that's coming up for anybody? Christine, thank you so much for sharing that. And hopefully I was able to help a little bit. What else does anybody have? Where you need to take 5% more responsibility? What are you going to do today to take 5% more responsibility for whatever it is in these things? So, all right. So that's what I've got for y'all today. It's been about 30 minutes. I want to give you some extra time. We normally go between 30 minutes and an hour with these, but I'd love to give you some, hopefully you're all busy too. So let you get back to work here and back at it. So that's all I've got, unless you guys have anything else. That'll take care of Small Business Saturday for us today. Coming up this week, we've got Q&A with Todd and Aaron, Q&A with TNA happening. And if you want to put a question in there for Wednesday night, you can do so at oursuccessgroup.com/QA. And we are running a special right now for Success Tracker or any of our programs. Actually, if you want to become a member, we've got 20% off happening. And so if you just go and put in the code THANKS, once you go to oursuccessgroup.com, that will get you that special that's running through next week for Cyber Monday. So we'd love to have more members of our success group at oursuccessgroup.com. If you want to read more about the memberships, you can do so at oursuccessgroup.com/memberships. And again, the code to use is THANKS. All right. What else we got here? You're very welcome, Christine. Thank you for sharing. Cool. Mara says, working in my QuickBooks is my goal today. Nice. Congratulations. Hopefully that will go well for you. And you're welcome, Valerie. I'm happy to share, and hopefully we'll have more to share as we move forward here. So let's see here. Let's look at next week real quick. Next week, we're going to be talking about blaming, complaining, and excuses. He's going to give us some tools to eliminate those from our lives. As we talked about here today, we're responsible for our results and our things we're currently experiencing. And, this desire to get away from that 100% responsibility in our lives manifests itself in blaming others, blaming other things, complaining about the situation, making excuses, all of those things. I am a master of all three of those things. And I'm trying to become not a master at all three of those things. So I'm excited to dig into this part again and a little refresher. So excited about that. Next week, we will be back at 8 a.m. Central Time next week for that program. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being along with us here this morning. And hopefully everybody got something out of that. Again, if you have any questions or need anything, you can always also find me via email. If I find where I've got, there it is, at success@oursuccessgroup.com, right down here. And so if anything comes up, just let me know. I'm happy to answer. And Todd and I both get those emails. So one of us will get back to you as soon as we can. All right, let's see here. Oh, you're welcome. Mira, thank you for being here. All right, you guys have a great rest of your holiday weekend. Hopefully Small Business Saturday. You know what? Do this. Get out there and make sure that you are sharing your services with everybody on all your social media channels. Today is the best day to do that. And there'll be lots of people doing it. So do it often. Don't be, it's okay. It's okay to share with your family and friends and the people that are around you, and ask them to share too, because small business is the backbone of our country, is the backbone of the world, really, when you dig into it. And so we need to make sure that we are championing for ourselves first, because we can take 100% responsibility for our outcomes by sharing our business with others. All right. Hopefully that will help you guys get out there and be vocal today and take advantage of this Small Business Saturday. All right. All right, everybody. Have a great Saturday, and I will talk to you again soon.